my oldest sister had called crying and saying, Toya passed away. She was big into the spiritual world. She was trying to find natural ways to heal herself and do things like that. But she was also big in going to psychics and tarot. After that, I went through the turmoil of saying like, that should have been me. She should still be here.
On Money Channel, this is Seeds of Awakening, your home for higher frequency conversations for the free thinkers and open-minded folks. Today we're going to delve into the world of depression and through loss and tragedy and how those situations can bring out the worst and also the very best in us. I'm bringing my guest in just a second. Her name is LaTisha Rogers. But first, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get more content just like this. Okay, so let's bring in LaTisha and find out her story on how she moved to tragedy to triumph in her life. LaTisha Rogers, so glad you can make some time to join us this afternoon. Thanks so much and welcome to Seeds of Awakening.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get in your story. I know you suffered from some depression in your life, but take me back to your childhood. Where did things start for you and how were you raised?
Well, I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana, and I am the baby of four. And so I was that rambunctious kid, that tomboy that just went outside and did everything and anything you could possibly do. Any trouble you can get into, I got into it.
Were you fighting with boys in the neighborhood?
I was one of those wrestling with them and just out there. And my mother would be like, "Why don't you go do girl things?" And I'm like, "That's not fun."
Mm-hmm. So were you raised religiously or were you more spiritual? How were you raised?
I was raised religiously. We went to church every Sunday. I was in the church choir. I went to Trinity Missionary Baptist Church and I was baptized as well. We didn't do the Sunday school, but we were there for choir and Sunday service every time.
So very devout Christians, you would say, or raised,
Yeah.
was it a strict home? Were you raised in it?
No, it wasn't strict. It was semi-strict. It wasn't like we had to sit down and do different things, but I know growing up we couldn't, with my grandmother especially, you couldn't play with her big Bible. Like you couldn't even open it to read it.
Off
That was a
limits.
no-no. Yes.
Gotcha. So tell me, how was through youth and in your teenage years, what did you experience and what was life like for you guys, for your family?
Um, for me, through my teen years, I actually got pregnant at 15 and had my daughter at 16. And then, so me and their father, we had our troubles off and on, experienced abuse in that relationship as well, mental, physically, emotionally. And we had ended up having three children together. So at 18, I had my second one, and at 19, I had my third one.
It's a full family while you're still a teenager, huh?
Yes, yes, yes.
And then what happened with your sister, I guess, that led to your depression? How'd that come about?
In 2015, October 2015, I had got a call at work, and my oldest sister had called crying and saying, Toya passed away. And I was taken aback. I was like, No, y'all are playing with me. Like, do not play with me. Don't play with me." And she's like, I'm serious. I am so serious. She passed away in the middle of the night, we think. We know she had a headache. And usually my mom tells us when we have a headache, go wash your hair, go take a shower and lay down. So that's what she was going to do. She had gotten out of the shower. So she had passed, and my sister and mother found her between her bed and the dresser. So she didn't even make it to put clothes on or possibly even dry herself off.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was
Did she have a
quick.
seizure? Did she have a seizure or something? Do they know what happened?
We think they said that she might have had very high blood pressure and an aneurysm that
Mhm.
happened. Mhm.
Gotcha. So what happened to you after that, after your sister passed?
After that, I went through the turmoil of saying like that should have been me. She should still be here. She didn't have any children, but she didn't want any. But I was just like, it still should be me, not her. She should still be here. And I was also in the military, and I just was like, screw this. Life is too short. It ended so quickly, and I was just like in this complete fog for a while.
Do you think with survivor's guilt, is that what they call it? Is that what you had, survivor's guilt?
Yes, yes. And it wasn't like, this was a natural cause. She wasn't sick or anything like that. So it wasn't like, it just was unexpected. But I was just like, you could have did that to me. So yeah.
Was this sister, were you close to her or
Hmm. Yes.
gotcha?
Yeah. She was 5 years older than me. So she was 38 when she passed.
So what happened to you after that? What would that lead you to, or what did you end up shaking the depression, or what happened after that?
After that, I was living in Iowa at the time, so I moved back home. Well, I moved back to Georgia in 2016. And so I started working and kind of putting work to cover and fill the void. And I had to clean out her storage container, her storage locker. And, I kind of was like, hey, she's not here. She would not want us to keep her stuff. She would want us to give it away, back to Goodwill, back to Salvation Army, things like that, so it can help other people. So that's how I kind of started to relieve my survivor's guilt and my depression.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like giving her things away and going through her things, that sort of thing.
Yes, yes. And it also helped me to grieve as well, because during that whole process, yes, I cried, but as cleaning out her storage, that was when I really cried, really let it all out, and I was able to grieve the way I wanted to.
You feel like that kind of led to your healing in some kind of way?
Yes, I do feel like it did lead to my healing because she was big into the spiritual world. She was trying to find natural ways to heal herself and do things like that. But she was also big in going to psychics and tarot. And when we would go together to get readings, I was always told that I would be doing tarot. And I was like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. So it was like, in a sense, to be more connected to her. I started looking at tarot. I had bought a tarot deck years ago, and I finally picked it up and started learning tarot. And through that, I was able to not only heal my depression, but also the self-consciousness that I had about myself and the negative connotations that I had about myself too.
How did tarot help in that process?
Going through as they say, the hero's journey, but for me, really diving into the swords. When I got to the sword suit, that was when I really started to take it and be like, okay, you can go from having clear, precise thoughts and seeing the journey of how your thoughts can just get worse and it can start attacking yourself about time you get to the eighth and the ninth of swords. And it was like, okay, I would start to ask my questions. What is it about you that you're beating yourself up on? How can we see ourselves lifting up out of the swords? So I would give myself journal prompts to write.
Mm. So through the journaling and through the cards, you were able to kind of delve in deeper into yourself and sort of answer those questions.
Yes. And then I started taking classes, psychic development classes, and then I started getting into astrology and seeing how everything was connected. So I kind of went into that deep dive and I understood kind of why she wanted to go the natural route and be in the spiritual world.
So as you were kind of delving into the tarot, because I was raised in a Christian household where like tarot and all that, we believe it was like demonized. It wasn't something that really Christians believed in. How did you have any conflicts with that as you kind of started learning about it?
I didn't because my mother and my father, my family supported me. And I would look at it and I would explain, well, with different types of divination tools. I said, to me, the pastor is divinating as well because he has to go and meditate and get the word and what word is going to be presented. And he may flip open the Bible and flip and boom, landed on a verse. And that's the verse that he's going to preach on. So to me, it's like that's why I kind of explained and gave them that correlation. It's just a tool to help get out the message that needs to be spoken.
So explain what tarot is in your own definition, because I haven't really delved into it that much myself.
Tarot for me, it's the story. When the cards, I like to shuffle the cards and let the cards fall out. And I lay the cards in order and I just look at the pictures and allow it to tell me the story of what's going on, either by the questions that the querent asks, or if they just like, I don't have any questions, just give me a general, then I look at everything that's going on and I'm able to tell the stories.
Hmm, okay. And tell me about the swords. Why are the swords so significant with your healing journey? What are the swords? What do they symbolize?
The swords symbolize your thoughts, um, and your thinking habits, and also for me, also communication. Because if you're thinking negative about yourself, a lot of things that come out of your mouth is still going to be negative. And we know that, your words are spells. Your tongue is a sword. We know that how we speak is how it goes out. So
Mhm.
that's what made me really dive into the swords the way that I did.
So you kind of thought about how you use your words, how your thoughts kind of influence everything, kind of made you look into that kind of area of your communication.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then I was able to start to things that I would say negative about myself. I would try to find a positive way to, okay, let me flip that and let me say this. And as I started to do that, I saw the change not only in me, but my surroundings as well. And my children and my mother, they noticed the change as well.
Mhm. Did you feel closer to your sister as you were kind of delving into the tarot cards? Did you feel like a connection with her as well?
Yes, I did feel a connection with her. I felt her, saying, "Well, dang, you should have learned this sooner, and I could have been paying you instead of paying the other people." So it would be random things that come up, maybe seeing her name on a license plate or her birthday, different things like that that let me know as I was reading the cards, let me know she was with me.
Yeah, it's like we have such a final view of death. Like death is like the final blow, but really the spirit lives on. Well, what I believe is that the spirit lives on after the death, and it's just a physical, the body is just a shell basically, and the spirit lives on. So maybe you're able to still communicate with her, she's still communicating with you.
Yes, yes. Um and I would look at different cards because she was a Cancer. So to me, she was like the Queen of Cups. She was emotional, but she made sure she got her points across. So also whenever I would shuffle and I would see that card, just pop out, I'd be like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? What
Mm.
messages are you trying to say that I'm not getting?
So it sounds like the tarot kind of introduced you to a deeper area of spirituality, and that you got kind of jumped in the deep end, as you say. What else did you kind of learn to explore, or what else did you learn in as far as spirituality goes?
I went into Reiki. So I'm Reiki level 2, and I'm looking to continue on and be a Reiki master and continue that process. I've also done spiritual coaching and done and spoke at different retreats on healing, spiritual healing, things of that nature. Yeah.
So they're definitely immersed in the spiritual culture, as it were now.
Yes. Yes.
Has community also been a factor in this? Like, do you have a large circle of friends who are also spiritual, or are your friends more religious? How does that sort of weigh in?
It's a bit mixed. I have friends that are spiritual and I have friends that are religious. And for the new friends that I just met recently, been friends for about a year, I remember telling her, like, look, I am into the woo-woo community. I do tarot, astrology. And she was like, do you believe in God? And I was like, yes. I do believe in God. I feel like these are still the tools that God has given us. He's given us all these gifts, but just given us different ways to express it. So she was acceptive and she has been supportive ever since.
Have you got any resistance from your friends or family members in terms of your spiritual activities?
Not yet. And if they have any resistance, they haven't spoken that to me or shown any signs of that. My platform is public. They know what I do, so they haven't voiced that yet.
Okay, so do you work with clients also? Do you work with individuals and do card readings and that sort of thing?
Yes, I attend psychic fairs throughout the Roswell area, and then I also take on clients from there as well.
So you're very immersed in the woo, then I would say.
Yes, definitely.
So what do you think the main benefit of this spiritual activities has been on your life?
The main benefit has been the positive outlook that I've had. The confidence in me has grown. My intuition in myself has grown as well. It's not, I'm not so negative or so down on myself like I used to be. And it's also inspired me to kind of teach, so to speak, what I've learned so far and not try to keep everything bottled up.
So what about spirituality is more attractive than religion? Because you could say that you could get the same kind of benefits from going to church or from the Bible, that sort of thing.
To me, I feel like it all coincides together. The more that I delved into spirituality, it also allowed me to dive into the religious aspect and look into Egyptian culture and see that a lot of it has come from one source, but everybody has taken it and done what they wanted to do with it.
Are you speaking about the religious control of like the elites, as they say, or
Yes. So they
okay?
were able to take it and meld it into what they wanted their religion to look like.
So to you, spirituality is more the pure form of maybe worship or connecting with God. It's a way to have a more individual experience without a pastor, preacher, or a body of people, then it sounds like.
Yes, yes. I always, even as a kid, um, I was always told that God said, "Come as you are." So wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I can still come to Him in whatever facet, and I don't have to go through a set religion or a set. I just have to come to Him in my purest form.
So I have a question. What were you doing secularly for business before you got into the spiritual work? Were you doing anything like what was your career?
I was a paraprofessional, and then I still work. I still work at the Veterans Hospital.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you still do secular work and then you do your spiritual work on the side as well.
Yes, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, very good. Is there anything you'd like to add about your story you'd like to share about your experiences that the audience may want to know about?
Um, just that when you go through this journey, you think you're going through it alone, but you realize that there are other people at different aspects or steps of the journey that really help you and encourage you. It has opened me up to friends and people that I wouldn't have never thought I'd be in a room with.
Has it changed your view about what God is or source? Has it sort of helped shape that attitude as well?
Yes, it allowed me to see that God is within me and I don't have to go searching somewhere in a book or outside myself, and that my body is my temple and that my home is my sanctuary. So that has changed my aspect of saying, okay, well, I got to go to church every Sunday.
Mhm. I was watching a video probably on social media. I like to scroll a lot. And it was talking about how Jesus's message was kind of perverted and that he originally just wanted to teach people to go within, like you're speaking about. And the church kind of took his message and made Jesus be the religion. So more speaks to the original, I guess, nature of a spirituality, how we are to serve God, I guess.
Hmm. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Okay, cool. So at this point, I like to ask all my audience members, all my interviewees, a few questions that are kind of similar, kind of hot seat questions. So the first one is, What would be your definition of a spiritual awakening?
A spiritual awakening is s- it's almost like to me an aha moment. You may not know when it comes. Like for me, I was actually taking yoga teacher training, and the other students around me were like getting these moments. And it wasn't until the end for me that it was like a light bulb finally clicked. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. So it just speaks to that everybody's awakening is not the same.
Mhm. What's the most valuable lesson that you learned in life so far?
The most valuable lesson I've learned is to not tell myself no. It's
Explain what you mean
okay.
by that.
Because a lot of times we will procrastinate and we will talk ourselves out of doing something. Well, I will talk myself out of doing stuff. And I would tell myself, oh, no, I'm not qualified for that position. I'm not going to apply for it. And I just had to say, you know what? I'm going to stop telling me no. Now, if other people tell me no, that's fine. At least I actually did it and went
Mhm.
forward with it.
All right, so my last question is, if you were going to give someone advice, they were coming to you like, I'm having a spiritual awakening. I think I'm having these different questions. What would your advice be to someone who's going through a spiritual awakening? How would you advise them, or what kind of information would you share with them?
I would share with them to first, if they're a writer, get a journal and start writing down those different questions that they have, no matter how crazy, weird it sounds, write them down. And also, if you can, get a mentor or, talk those questions out with me and we can work through it together. We can find different ways of, either looking at your birth chart or pulling out the cards and working through those questions that you have.
So, are you well versed in astrology as well as tarot and Reiki? It sounds like you're well versed in all areas of spirituality. It sounds like.
Yes, I'm trying to
So,
find a way to put them all together.
a one-stop shop.
Yes, yes.
So, how can someone find you right now if they were wanting to reach out to you or they wanted to read? How would they find you online?
On Instagram, and yes, on Instagram, I am Stay Fly Coaching, all one word. And then on YouTube, I am Stay Fly Coaching as well, but the channel name is Stay Fly Tarot. And then on YouTube, I am Stay Fly Tisha.
Well,
I
stay
mean,
fly.
TikTok. TikTok. I'm sorry. I am Stay Fly Tisha on TikTok.
All right, Tid. Well, stay fly. I want to thank you so much for spending a few moments sharing your story with us, and glad that you're able to get through your depression. And good luck to all your future ventures.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.